Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a few trades that we took this week over at TrueTrade. I want to start doing these videos once a week, just some recaps of our best trades, maybe sometimes not our best trades. I just want to provide a learning opportunity for you guys so you can see what we look for in plays, how we execute our trades, and and I'm going to go ahead and show the call outs on these and just my thought process behind calling out the trade and how it was executed. Okay, so I have three trades I'm going to go through from this week. Here's the first one is AMD. I want to make this not too long, so I'll get right into it. AMD, we entered this trade here on Thursday this week, and I have this daily chart over here, and I have the intraday levels of previous day high marked from the day before, you can see. So our actual entry on AMD was right around this area on the retest of the previous day highs. I had seen this breakout happening with decent volume, and I thought it looked good to go higher. And as you can see, I had identified this resistance zone here, and I like to start it from, if there's multiple touches, I like to start it where the first time it comes up and it hits that high. I want to make the top of the zone right there. I want to make the bottom of the zone the highest candle that has closed on all of these touches. So you can see there's a close right there at the bottom of the zone. That's where I make the bottom of the zone. I don't know why, that's just how I've always done it, and I find that it works very, very well in these resistance type situations. You can look at my support and resistance video that kind of talks about how I make these zones with wicks and bodies and all that. They work very well. And so as you can see, the breakout intraday failed. And so, this was actually meant to be a day trade. It was meant to spike up, and I actually did take some profits on this spike, but I was looking for more. I still had more, and so I was looking for a bigger rally. And so the biggest thing, guys, always be looking at a longer time frame chart. I believe I was actually looking at an hourly, but a 2-hour kind of puts this picture very clear. I believe I was looking at an hourly at the time, and I had noticed that we had closed an hour, which is very important. It's longer over this resistance line, right? We've closed over all the pivots, all the closes, the whole zone, and the trend line that I have drawn there. And so I went ahead and said that it's good to swing. It didn't break any key levels, right? It never broke back below this zone, which was a good sign. If it did break below that zone, that'd be a bad sign, especially below this breakup candle low. But even below that, you have a gap, you have a lot of support levels, right? And you can choose a stop loss based on how much you want to risk on that particular trade. I decided to not take a loss after this break because of a longer time frame looking bullish still, right? Sometimes there's intraday fakeouts. They get traders that might be scared or have their stop loss too tight or not be looking at a bigger picture, right? They might have a 1-minute chart up and they're like, oh shit, AMD's going down, it failed. And they get out, they get scared because they're down 10% on their trade if they're trading options. They're down whatever 1% here on this drop. But good traders, guys, they look at this longer time frame. So to make it a little shorter, as you can see, AMD ended up spiking the next day. It never broke this bullish pullback. And just notice that trend line, how it acted. Perfect support in the morning. And we had a nice trade on this. I believe we had, if I go over to my TrueTrade profits here, yeah, we had a nice profit here, 14%er, 14% of his account, that is, on AMD. Yeah, so AMD was a very nice trade. That's the first one. And as we went up, obviously we took profits in the morning here partially, and we let it run. Using a trailing stop loss. Right. That's how the best way to do this is to use 15-minute candles or 10-minute, however you want to use. And as something's running up, how we manage this stop loss is you let it run. You maybe take a partial profit. This is 45.75. That or 43.75 is a monthly resistance point on AMD. So I actually did take profits there. And then how I did it after was you wait for a candle to close below the previous candle's low. Okay. So in this case, it would be this candle right here. You can see this low is being held, right? And right here it stops you out because it closes below, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Right here is where you get stopped out. This is where it closes below the previous candle's low, my bad. And so that signifies that a downtrend can be beginning, right? As you can see, a few candles downtrend, it does spike up later, but that's a good way to have a stop loss. You can use a smaller time frame if you want, if you're more of a scalper, or even for swings, you can do the same exact thing. If you try to capture momentum in swings, look for 2-hour, 4-hour candles and use this same stop loss strategy to still capture your profits and try to get out near the reversal of a trend. Okay, on to the second trade. Cisco. Okay, Cisco was a swing trade. It was a bit of a riskier swing trade. Sorry, here is the call out right here. Overnight swing for Cisco calls. Okay, and so I'm gonna kind of walk you through what I was thinking on this. As you can see, the swing worked out very well. The swing was called out on this day here. So yeah, I alerted these, and this was a risky one that I told our members to actually get same week expiration. And this was on a Tuesday. So only 3 days until expiration. And I gave a few targets here on Cisco right here. 47.03, 47.5, right? 47.03, just you can see, I'm always looking at daily charts, hourly charts, something longer to give me targets, to give me an idea of where the stock is going. You have to be looking at longer charts, even when day trading, right? Or doing short swings. I'm always looking at longer charts. So this first level was a gap, right? Gaps are important. We know that. So I was looking for a rise to that gap. Now, sorry, I forgot to tell you why I entered. The reason this was a risky overnight swing, right? We have a channel here. You can see it a bit better, I think, if I go down to like a 2-hour. Yeah, so there's the channel that was made. It was a bear flag. It broke down, and we can see fairly high volume recapture of that trend line. It was essentially a false breakout, or it broke out, found some support a little bit lower, came back up. That's bullish to me. Any quick recapture of a breakout like that is always looking to test the opposite end of its range that it came back into. Now, I actually didn't play it to the top end, but it did work pretty well. You can see that, right? That happens very often. That's a good trade idea. But it doesn't often lead to huge trades, right? Anyways, I saw Cisco. I had an alert up here for the break of the top and the recapture of this support, right? You can see this level here and here, and it recaptured that. There's a gap that was left open right here. And we closed the day above, right? When I saw Cisco close this 4-hour candle and daily candle above, I said it was good for a swing. And as long as we didn't get back below that level, it was fine to hold, right? Or back below this this channel here. So we can see the next morning as I'm in the trade, I did actually take some on this day. I took some profits because it, didn't look super strong. So I took some profits. And at that point, my stop loss was moved to break even. So if I ended up coming back towards this gap, I would just exit the rest of my trade. As you can see, it didn't. But while I'm in this trade on this day here, this 4-hour candle, this is showing nice bullish sentiment, right? It closes above the previous day's close. That's good. It shows a long wick on the bottom coming off of this channel. That also gives me a clue that higher prices are likely to come in Cisco. So this is Thursday here, right here. These two green candles. That is Thursday, and so 47.03, my target of a gap here. We open over it. And so whenever something opens over an important level, what you want to do is watch a smaller time frame, hourly, maybe even 15 or 30 minutes. And you want to see as it comes down, are the smaller time frames bouncing off of that, or are they beginning to close below it? Once you start to get 30-minute closes, hourly closes below the level, it's likely going to fail, right? It depends on how long you're trying to hold the trade, right? If you're doing a short-term swing like this and hourly close back below, that's not a good sign. And so we can see, if we go to like a 15-minute chart, right, it comes down and has a doji. It doesn't even reach the level, comes all the way back up above open price. That's bullish. Long bottom wick. And the fact that it can't get down there shows you bears are weak. That gives you a reason to hold the trade longer, right? And so I believe my next price was like 47.50. I think that was just, I didn't think honestly it would get all the way to this top trend line by the end of the week, but it did. And so I believe I sold most of this based on a trailing stop. And as you can see right here on this candle, we closed below. So I think I had one left after that point, which I actually held till near the top here. But what an incredible swing. And we had a member, we had a member make over 1,000% on this swing here. While I find it. Here it is. Look at that, 52 to 637, right? Huge gain. And he was out of the money, so he was playing it a little bit risky, right? But I think I made over 100% on my total trade on that. I was playing in the money. I played a little safer on this, and I took a lot of profits early, but that's okay. You can't always capture them all. So anyways, hopefully that walkthrough helped you guys. Why I selected the trade, how I went through the trade, taking profits at certain places, how to manage a trade when it gets over an important level in the morning. Yeah, and so for the last trade, real quick, this one is nothing amazing, but it's an intraday breakout, and it involves identifying bounce areas, right? This one was pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. We can see Boeing. Excuse all the lines. I wonder if I have a better one here. Yeah, this is kind of better. Essentially, right, there's a zone. There's a zone on Boeing. There's a big range. Here's essentially the range. It's very big, but we've come to the bottom of it, right? And we've had a high volume spike down, and we've had a green day come back up, right? And we've seen some green, so it could be bottoming, right? It's on high volume. We could at least see a short-term bottom back to this level here, right? Whenever something gaps down and comes back to try and fill the gap and stops and goes back the other way, that level is always going to be important. I think I've talked about that in a video before, but that level is always going to be important. So we're watching this, right? It's essentially a zone from there to there, right? That should be a rectangle. You get the point. We essentially have a zone here. And so if we're trying to look for a bullish play, which this is on Boeing, we're looking for back to the top of this range. So I'm going to go ahead and I have my chart over here. So we played this one. We played this one here on Wednesday. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and just change my indicator real quick. 3 days ago. And so here is Wednesday. Right here. So this was called at 7:30 in the morning. So this candle right here. And so I had a level. This was gotten from a daily chart. And this level here is this gap, right? So as Boeing was coming down, gapping down, I said, well, where can Boeing stop? What levels are going to be important on Boeing? I always mark gaps. Every single unfilled gap should be marked. So this was unfilled at the time. And I usually keep them on there until I feel that they're not important anymore. And so I saw that we had this day, this bottoming day, and we gap up the next day, right? We gap up. Here's the bottoming day, and here's the gap up. And immediately, right, we're up, and we are getting above this important gap level on 15-minute closes. And I'm expecting Boeing to have a nice size bounce here. And, you know, where is the first potential target is the top of the range, right? It's up here. That's my target. So when Boeing breaks over this line here in the first hour of the day, that also at 7:30, I was watching an hourly chart. I'm always watching longer time frames, especially when you're playing bounces. It's tough to play against trend. So waiting for longer closes, especially on uptrends, can be more beneficial to your accuracy. So we had a first hourly close above. So now what I'm expecting Boeing to do is hold this important level that was important previously. We can see it was a gap, and now you can see it's had a reaction, a break. And so I'm expecting this to now hold and continue to the top end of the range. And yeah, so it worked out pretty picture perfectly here. I actually have the wrong indicator lines on. Sorry, this should be 4 days, I believe. Fuck it. No, it's still not right. Anyways, you get the point, right? I'm watching this important level. Boom, we enter on this retrace. If you wanted to wait for the ultimate confirmation, you have a very nice hammer candle here that finishes above, and it's got pretty good volume too. So that's definitely a place that you would want to enter Boeing if you were maybe hesitant, if you didn't think the call was good, whatever. That's a very good confirmation there that would make me want to jump in with more size. Obviously not too much, but you get the point. It's a nice bull flag. You get the hammer, and you go, right? And so this one worked out really well, right? At this one, I took profits, I believe, I took partial profits at these highs. So right here. And then after we broke, I said, okay, that's a great sign. And so I kept going using a trailing stop on the rest. right? I always put my stop at break even after I take my first profits. And then if it starts to run a bit more, I start to use a trailing stop so I can lock in those profits even if it turns against me. So this was a day trade. I wasn't looking to swing this, so I used a trailing stop. If you look at 15-minute candles, whenever the next candle closes underneath, remember the candle before. So this one doesn't quite close below the low. Keep going, 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 and look at this. You capture all of this, still not out, and boom, you're out. Okay. Now this one on Boeing was unfortunate, right? And this is why I recommend you can use even smaller time frames. Depends, again, how quick of a trader you are. If you are using, say, a 5-minute time frame, it's a little bit sketchier. And sometimes what you want to do with 5-minute time frames is you actually want to identify points of support, right? What should be support once this breaks out? Well, it should be the previous resistance, right? And it was. And then what was the next resistance? Well, it was right here, right? And so what should be support? It should be right there. And then do we have any more resistance? Well, we have this, this right here, right? This little spike up. Let's say that's resistance right there. Look at that. It comes down as support. And, you know, this is just unfortunate, right? It comes down and it kind of just breaks, you know, through two supports at once, essentially. So this one, yeah, you get stopped out and you lose quite a bit of your trade. That's one way to do it. You can also just take profit at targets, right? This one didn't quite reach my target, so I hadn't taken profits yet on my second half. So I got stopped out there. Still a winning trade, though. That's how you got to manage the trade. Anything can happen in the market, and using stops is incredibly important so that you never let a green trade go to red. So yeah, those were three just very well played out trades from this week in our chat room. If you do have any questions about joining us for a free week, go ahead and just look in the description. I have the link to my Discord. I have my Instagram. You can go ahead and DM me, ask me any questions, comment on this video. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Hope this helped you guys a lot and you learned something, and look forward to these every week now. I'm going to try to do these every single week, and let me know if they're helpful, if there's anything I could do different with them, because, you know, I'm kind of just starting them, and I hope you guys like them. So yeah, have a good day, guys. See ya.